Just like, how are they gauging that? Like how
I
are
don't know.
they? So you see what I'm like? Okay, they're gonna
No
go to the
clue.
website. They're gonna go to the store. Say, did they do
Kirby,
this in a test group in a boardroom? Like
I don't
that's
know.
the yeah. Okay, so
I
go
don't
ahead.
know. Kirby, I will tell you, I don't even know what EDO stands for. That's how prepared I am for this topic.
That's right. Promo UPFront. Money in the pit. The mullet. A full podcast.
That's great. It starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes and airplanes. Lenny Bruce is not afraid. And that's how we are absolutely going to start off episode number 210 of the Promo UPFront podcast. I am one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me as always, let's call him the warlock of the webinar, the one and only Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how the mid-July, how the dog days of summer are you?
I am great, man. Love this time of year. Love the weather. I love that I'm outside a ton. I've been working out a ton, so I get to do all that outside as opposed to being on a treadmill. So yeah, man, I'm actually feeling strong. How about you, buddy?
Doing good, back in the swing of things.
Yeah.
Got finally adjusted. My jet lag's gone. Like
Good.
you, getting out, working out, getting back and doing my normal routine. As much as I love breaking routine, I do love getting back to routine. And heck, in about 10 days, I'll be heading out to ASI Chicago. Which, you know what, Kirby? Interestingly enough, that got me to thinking. Like I said, in 10 days, I'm going to be in the Windy City. And again, I have the honor of speaking at ASI Chicago. It's something you love. I know, I love it as well. And with the trip so close, like I said, it got me to thinking specifically about what I'm most excited to see while I'm at McCormick Place. Now, Kirby, I want to ask a quick question. Do you have any guesses on what I'm most excited to see?
I know you love it when the rivers turn green.
Kirby, you couldn't be more wrong. Honestly, that's the worst possible answer anybody could have ever given in the history of the question answer format we utilize in the English language. No, I'm looking forward to visiting the Logo Mats booth, of course, at
Of
booth
course.
number 1113. That's 1113. On the show floor. Now, of course, I get to see the indoor, the outdoor, and the point of purchase mats that are bold, bright, and durable and made right here in the United States. I mean, most of the time, honestly, that's probably enough, but no, not this year. Not only will I get to see mats of every shape and size, I get to see some amazing new products from Logo Mats. A branded comfort mat that's an anti-fatigue mat, which I think we all appreciate if we are either exhibiting at a trade show or things like that. Desk Impressions. It's a rolling. A branded rolling mat to protect your carpet for when your chair is at your
Mm.
desk. Things like that. It's a great way to showcase your brand. And the point of purchase scrape mat. Now this is got a cleated surface, so help people clean off their shoes, especially we're heading into fall and winter. You would know this better than anybody in Ohio. Now,
For
Kirby,
sure.
another question for you. Let's see if you can answer this better than you did the first one. How jealous are you that I,
Mm.
Bill Petrie, get to see these fantastic new products from Logo Mats before you do?
Yeah, I am actually. I've got a little FOMO happening. I don't generally make it to ASI Chicago, and this is, of course, there's the industry people that I would get to see, the education that I'm sure your education is going to be awesome, but obviously not seeing Logo Mats is part of the reason that I have FOMO.
Well, Kirby, you did it again. You turned the corner. You did the 180. You answered it better than any person in the history of the human race ever could have. That's right.
Sure.
Now, if you're fortunate enough, as I am, to be attending ASI Chicago, make sure you stop by booth 1113. Now, that's 16 11s minus 13 11s, and then add a 3. 1113 is the booth number. See Miles Wadsworth, Lenny the Lizard, and the entire Logo Mats crew. And tell them your pals Kirby and Bill sent you by. They're going to help you stand out where others are simply happy just to fit in. All right, Kirby. Before we get into it, you have the upfront portion of the podcast today. We would be remiss if we didn't just kind of let the folks down in Texas know we're thinking of them
Yeah.
with the hurricane that just blew through. I know a lot of people are still without power. This is a tough time of year to be without power, especially in Texas with how
Yeah.
absolutely humid and hot it gets. Obviously, it sounds like most everybody that at least I know, I think you know as well, weathered the storm as best as possible and are safe. But we hope everybody gets back to normal soon. But again, we'd be remiss if we didn't just
Yeah.
say we're thinking about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Be patient,
right.
folks.
Patience is key. All right,
Yeah.
let's jump into it, Kirby. Man, you have the upfront portion of the podcast, and there is so much going on in the promotional products industry right now. I don't even know where you're going to begin. In fact, I'm so excited. I just want to get right into it. I don't want to delay 1 second. I want you, I mean, you probably have an entire list of things you could talk about, maybe 10, 20, perhaps 30, could be 40. It might even be 50. I don't think it's 60, but it might even be 70. You have so many things you want to talk about. It would be a waste of everybody's time if I just sat here and blathered on and on. I think let's just not do that. Let's get right to it. If you could go ahead and get your notes ready, get ready to go ahead and share the topic you want to share with us as soon as I'm ready to let you do that, which I think I'm ready to now.
Okay, cool. So well done. So the topic today that we're going to start with is what I want to call the dichotomy of the economy right now.
Okay.
So, and I'm looking at this through the lens of, when it comes to our industry, people purchase or industries purchase, and one of the things that affects that is consumer confidence, right? Like
Right.
if folks are feeling uneasy, sometimes that affects purchasing decisions, that sort of thing. So there was a survey that was done recently, and I'm going to go through it really quick. And over 2,000 people were participated in the survey. So a decent number of folks. 56% of the U.S. economy thinks, or excuse me, 56% think the U.S. economy is experiencing recession. 55% think the economy is shrinking. GDP is growing. 72% believe inflation is up. It's actually down. 49% think the current unemployment rate is at a 50-year high. It's near a 50-year low. And 49% believe the S&P 500 was on the decline. It's more than 12% up. So I'm first of all, I was totally fascinated by this, and I'm not like necessarily looking to lay the blame game. I swear, words are going to come out. And please, everyone who's listening, spare me the politics. This is just the numbers are the numbers, and the perception is the perception. There's a dichotomy between the economies, where I'm coming from. Yeah. So I guess my question to you is, and I think I have some thoughts on this, but I really honestly wanted your thoughts. Is it incumbent upon us in marketing and sales in our industry to start telling the other side of that story, to say, hey guys, actually the economy is stronger than most people think. It's okay to be purchasing. What do you think?
Yeah. Interesting, because my topic is going to be something similar to this, but it's not so close that I want to blend it in. So I just that's a teaser, folks. Let me answer your question. I think it's something you could do, but I'd tread very carefully. We live in a very politically charged environment right now, and just about anything can and will be politicized, especially when it comes to the economy in an election year. So while I think, yes, as much as you can, you try to tell that story, people interpret the numbers how they want to interpret the numbers. And you may run the risk, if you lead or are too strong with, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Client, I know you think the economy is in the shitter. It's not, and let me tell you why. I'm not sure, that really helps your relationship with your client. I'm not sure people are in an environment where you're really supposed to be thinking about their marketing, promotional merchandise, how to broadcast their message, if that really is going to translate well. It almost, I think it might come across as too self-serving. Now, that being said, if because you're friends with your clients, and I think a lot of us are friendly, at least friendly, if not friends with our clients, if it comes up, I think that's a great opportunity to say, actually, it's interesting. I've been concerned about this as well, but looking at the numbers, things look like they're much better than what we're hearing. And again, I've said this before. We live in a society where everybody's the news is a reality. So whatever news channel you watch, that's your reality.
Mhm.
And so because there's not one centralized truth that the
Mhm.
entire populate can agree on, all the truth is opinion based, it seems like. So
Mhm.
it's very
Yeah.
difficult to say, here's a universal truth we all agree on, like the
Yeah.
sky is blue, water is wet. We don't have that when it comes to the economy and things like that. So I think it's a tread carefully moment, but if the opportunity presents itself and you feel like you can
Mhm.
eloquently and articulately speak to it, I think yes, it's very beneficial. But I think those opportunities are few and far between. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Curb.
Yeah, I think that was super thoughtful. Thank you. Made me look at it a little bit differently. And I think at first when you started to push back, I was like, no, man, I'm gonna like I'm tired of
Yeah.
not being able to say things because people are so far down their roads that they can't hear anything else. And I'll be honest, I lost people over that? I probably have, not because I'm trying to. I mean, my guess is, Bill, you know me better than most people in the industry, and you don't know who I'm going to vote for. This is not about that, right? Like, that's just not where I'm at. But what I would say is, so that was my initial pushback, but you were super thoughtful about it. You kind of like made me think about it. Now, so I think it comes back to the idea of it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And with the idea that, hey, great news, or hey, this is what trends we're seeing in the industry. Here's people who are doing really
That's
well.
fine.
So now the reality of it is times are uncertain. Totally buy that,
Okay.
right? Like,
Right.
but I do think it's fascinating that the perception is so far removed from the math, right? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I think your thoughts on this are really good.
Well, and I think yours are too. Again, I think a big part of it, which I kind of danced around, and I don't think I really had the term I wanted to use until now. It's know your audience.
Yeah.
And here's the analogy I'll draw, and it's a music analogy, which I can do effortlessly. 8 years ago, I went and saw Guns N' Roses on their first reunion tour. And I saw them here in Nashville at Nissan Stadium. And the opener was Chris Stapleton. Now, that's a very bizarre pairing. Chris
Mhm.
Stapleton was just breaking out with Traveler at that point. But that's a rabid fan base for Guns N' Roses that's there to see one of their a favorite band that defined a certain time period, and
Mhm.
it is the absolute almost direct opposite of what Chris Stapleton does. And I will tell you that it worked excessively well.
Hmm.
It was a great show. I love that kind of split. So if Guns N' Roses said, "Hey, our audience just wants mediocre headbanging bullshit,"
Mhm.
they would have brought Poison on tour or somebody like that, right? Or LA Guns or somebody. But they've had enough faith in their audience that they would be open to something radically different. If you feel your audience is open to that conversation,
Mm.
absolutely you should have it in a thoughtful way. But really pay attention, know
Yeah.
when to push forward, when to bail out, when
Yeah.
to take a left turn, when to take a right turn.
It's interesting.
But know your audience. If your audience, though, is man, they just want mediocre headbanging bullshit, then give them that.
Mhm.
Make sure you know what you're doing before you just start popping off as some sort of low
100%.
rent economist.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, it's weird to take a shot at poison, but other than that, I'm spot on.
It's never weird to take a shot at poison, and I'll ride like the wind on that all day long. All right, Kirby, thanks to our unhealthy relationship with Amazon,
Well
speed
done.
and efficiency are at the forefront of what clients want and what they
Oh,
need. Now, well, our good pals at Bam Bams have leveraged their operational excellence to focus on faster production times. And what that means to you, Kirby, is that your client is going to get their sweet swag faster than ever before. And this is just another way Bam Bams is always changing the game. Check them out over at bambams.com. All right, Kirby, let's kind of let's go ahead and kind of bounce off your first topic. It's again,
okay.
we don't know what each other's going to talk about, but this is very similar.
Okay. Love
But I
it.
think we can have a different conversation about it. In fact, I know
Okay.
we can because this is a little more industry specific. Now, there's been a COVID rebound. We've seen how sales have gone dramatically up after COVID. Wonderful to see. I think we can all, we talk about universally agree. I think for the most part, we can universally agree that the industry sales levels at the end of 2023 were at about where they were pre-COVID.
Okay.
Now, I'm hearing that there's a big sales slump right now, especially from some of my supplier friends
Mhm.
that I speak with.
Yep.
That sales are slumping. Now, the order count has been consistent, but in many cases, the dollar amount is
Mm.
radically, radically down, and in some cases, down 75%,
Wow.
which is dramatic. And as we all know, it you burn just as many calories processing a $4,500 order as you do a $1,000 order.
Right.
So I want to know why you think this is.
Mhm.
Again, so this is now the tangential part of what we
Yeah.
just spoke about with your topic. I have some thoughts, but if you'd like to go, I can't. Obviously, uncertainty is one of them, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
think we can agree that uncertainty is that. But what do you have any other thoughts on that? If not, I can share mine.
Well, again, it does tie nicely into
Mhm.
the first topic because again, uncertainty is that thing, but it's
Yeah.
also just a direct lack of confidence. You know, they say
Yep.
that the economy is driven by they say about 70% consumer confidence, and if we are
Right.
constantly hearing over and over again that the economy is bad, that's sort of why I brought that up. That I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we should be telling the story that it's not that bad. Um,
Yeah.
and I also think that when times like this, and I don't know that this is the question, but just to say, we first part of the year, pretty decent. Started to fall off in May. June was actually pretty slow for us. So I
Yeah.
can at least give that. July's doing pretty good because I think in June and May when it started to slow down, we were like, we got to
Yeah.
work. I do think that when things are good, and I think this is true in any area, and the phone is ringing without that much effort, the effort shuts down.
Balls. Yep.
And so I think that that's not the only part of it, but it's the piece of it that I can
Yeah.
control, right? Like, so
Agreed.
I tend to focus there. So if I think uncertainty, I think that consumer confidence is down. So that's
Yeah.
why I think of the topic and like, how can I help that? And then the other thing is man, we used to make more sales calls. We need
Yeah.
to get
Well,
out there and
and
be more proactive. So those are my thoughts.
yeah, and so I want to add another. So it's not inflation. Inflation's starting to go away, which is a good thing. I think there's another one, and why this is happening. And I think there's a big fear of another housing crash. What a lot of people don't realize is a lot of the people who got adjustable rate mortgages about 7 years ago. When you get an adjustable rate mortgage, you're locked into a pretty low rate for a set period of time, usually about 7 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Those 7 year mortgages, though, because mortgage rates have dramatically increased,
Right.
those mortgage rates, those adjustable rates, they're going up. And they're going up in a big bad way for the people who had a low adjustable rate or introductory static rate, and now it's about to be adjustable and people are not going to be able to afford their house. I think there's a big fear of another housing bubble that we experienced in 2008. Um, but here's you talked about it. Those are things we can't control. Can't
Right.
control what mortgage rates are. Can't control what the perception is of the economy. Can't control what news people watch. So I wrote down, what do we do? And this again ties very nicely into your topic. And
Mhm.
one of the things, and I didn't share because I didn't prepare much for the podcast, so I wanted to hold off into this one. Lean into it. It's so you talked about, do we advise our clients, hey, the economy's not as bad as you think? I think you can do that. We talked about that. We don't need to go over that
Yeah.
again. But I think you can also lean into that everybody's feeling uneasy right now.
Mhm.
I think if I were in your shoes as a distributor, I know with what I do here at Brandovate, I lean into it. Is look, I know that things feel a little wonky right now, but what I would tell you is now is because everybody's pulling back. That is, everybody's gut feel is like, I
Mhm.
don't know what's going on. I'm holding on to
Yeah.
money. I'm holding on to this. Would never suggest to a client, spend wildly.
Yeah.
What I would advise them is, let's reevaluate your spend. Let's spend more thoughtfully. Let's spend in a more targeted fashion. Maybe scale back a little bit, but let's really try to make what you do and the money you do spend far more effective and
Yeah.
far more impactful, more bang for the buck. So that's one of the things I was thinking of, especially when you spoke. Again, we kind of collided on topics here, but so I think you can take two approaches if we loop in Kirby's topic before.
Yeah.
You can certainly talk about it if you have that relationship that, look, the numbers are different than what we're hearing on the economy. Maybe it's
Mm.
not as bad as we all think. I think that's a difficult sell. I think it's a far easier to sell as, yeah, it is uncertain and it's unsettling when you commiserate, when you kind of bridge that gap, say, but you know what? This is the time to really think about what you're doing, not just say it's either black or white. There's a gray area here. Let's find that gray area and make it work for your company.
Yeah, I like that. And I think again, talk about the mix the two is I think there might be because that's generally my conversation with folks when things are uncertain, things are down.
Yeah.
Melding that with the idea that it's not as bad as it looks and that it's a good time
Absolutely.
to what I call separation season. This is the
Yeah.
opportunity for you to get ahead of your competition because everybody else is holding back. And because it's not as bad as it looks, you could invest and try to separate. I think there's a couple strategies there that might be interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. I actually, this is exactly what I do. Now that you just said that, I'm like, here's exactly how I'd approach it is you want to talk about the topic of the economy, I'd say, you know what, there are numbers everywhere and they can be interpreted in many different ways. I, for one, am actually very bullish on the numbers I'm seeing, but I understand that not everybody's like that. So what we need to do is really form a strategy where you're comfortable in doing things that your competition isn't doing because they're afraid, they're
Yeah.
paralyzed.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, cool.
All right, cool. Let's see if we can talk about something besides the economy, Kirby.
Okay, I've got a bunch of topics over here.
All
So
right.
how about this one? Okay, Netflix is turning former department stores into entertainment centers. I don't
Okay.
know if you've seen this, but the empty space that used to be a Sears, your local mall, could soon turn into a place where you hang out for to watch Stranger Things. So the
Okay.
streaming company announced yesterday that it's opening two 100,000 plus square foot entertainment venues, one in Pennsylvania, one in Texas. And it's essentially Netflix's latest and biggest foray into live experiences. So they'll have
Yeah.
each Netflix house will have food, drinks, exclusive merch, and more. So I thought this was interesting, and I just sort of wanted your take on this. And I had other topics, but this is away from the economy. So
love it.
what do you
I love
think about Netflix going in creating entertainment centers?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's a smart play. I think, we will look back on the pandemic and it changed everything. It feels like we're back to normal. We're not back to normal.
Mm.
People don't go to the movies like they used to. We're different. We're on Zoom all the time now. We
Yep.
didn't do that before. Technology was there, guys. It wasn't new.
Yeah.
The application was new. So I think it's very smart. It's something I've said before. We've talked about movie going. I liked to go to the movies. I enjoy that experience. I enjoy the communal experience of seeing a movie with other people who are enjoying it. You laugh harder. It just feels
Mhm.
like I've
Yeah.
I've done something. I don't go to the movies anymore because it's such a shitty experience.
Mhm.
Now, I don't know what the level of awesomeness this experience will be for Netflix, but I'm of the belief that if you create the experience, people will spend the money for it.
Mhm.
I would gladly spend $50 on a movie ticket if the experience was worth it.
Mhm.
If the seats were comfortable, if they had actual service. Now, there are places that do that, just not here in Tennessee. So I think, companies like AMC are missing the boat. So I think this is very smart. You have all this retail space, which is, again, thanks to our good friends at Amazon,
Mhm.
it's struggling, especially department stores are probably struggling the most. I think it's very, very smart. I'd be very curious how they're going to pull it off, what they're going to do, and how they're going to make I think the key is this, Kirby, making the experience so amazing that I'm already paying for the content here in my house. Why would I pay for it again in your arena or in
Yeah.
your department store? So I think it's smart doing only a couple and then, maybe trying to figure that out. But I think it's smart. I think it's very smart.
Yeah, my initial pushback to you was going to be exactly what you started with, is that you have said, I used to like going to movie theaters and I don't like going to movie theaters anymore. So them creating essentially what is a movie theater is counterintuitive. That being
Right.
said, if you can, like, I think that when you are creating something from scratch, which AMC is not, right? Like
Yeah.
they've got built-in
Yeah.
revenue streams and all those sort of things. So it's a little bit harder. Netflix is starting from scratch. And so I think that when you can go, okay, we're going to make this a different experience, then you have the opportunity to succeed.
Yeah.
I also think that because Netflix has a different brand than AMC, like that does carry some weight. It does anytime you translate a brand, like we've had the conversation that we know what a Nike hotel would look like because it has that brand, and they would get certain folks that would go there because it was Nike, right? Well, I think the same thing is true with Netflix. So I'm intrigued by it, but I'm a little skeptical because I'm thinking what you're doing is taking the model and saying, hey, you don't need to go to movie theaters. We got you at home, but we're going to create a movie theater. So I'm curious to see how it plays.
I'll tell you why I'm not skeptical. They're doing 2 testers. If you were saying we're launching 113 across the United States, yeah, that's dumb. Doing a couple testers to keep tweaking it, making it, I think it's smart. All right, Kirby, do we have time for a quick one or no? Or
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Quick one.
I want to talk about something that's been on my mind, even though probably for 7-10 years.
Okay.
And that's the most effective TV ads so far in 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no
So
idea.
this is according to measurement company EDO. What they do is they gauge the effectiveness of commercials based on how likely the creative is to motivate consumers to engage with a brand online after seeing the ad. And they're looking for things like, well, are people searching for the company? Are they visiting the website? Are they downloading the app? So on and so forth. So do you understand the basis of this topic, sir?
I have many questions, but yes, I have the basic concept.
Okay, if you want to answer, go ahead and ask your questions. You have, before I go to my list here, do you want me to go to the list?
Just like, how are they gauging that? Like how are they? So you see what I'm like? Okay, they're going to go to the website. They're going to go to the store. So, did Kirby, they do this in a test group in a boardroom? Like
I don't know.
Okay. So go ahead.
Know. Kirby, I will tell you, I don't even know what EDO stands for. That's how prepared I am for this topic. All right.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So what I have 4 categories here. I want to see if you can pick who the company was that is the most effective, most impactful. Okay. So these are TV ads so far in 2024. The alcohol category. I would give you multiple choice. I didn't prepare for that. So sorry.
So what company?
What alcohol in the alcohol category? What company had the most effective ad so far in 2024?
I think this is an interesting topic because I don't watch TV in a traditional sense, so I'm not seeing very many ads. So which is part of the point of my pushback when I was asking the question. So, I mean, I'm going to take a shot and say Modelo.
Wrong,
Yeah,
Kirby.
sure
I had no idea. I would have guessed. I would have guessed Budweiser or Jack Daniels, just because when I do see ads, those are the ones I tend to see. Like you, I don't watch a lot of TV. I thought that's why this topic drew my attention. Like, who watches TV?
Right. Hey, you cut out. Your audio completely just now cut out, buddy. Like I lost
That's
you.
because I'm an idiot and I hit the mute button, Kirby.
Okay. Who watches
anyway,
TV commercials was the last thing I heard.
Yeah, I don't know who watches TV commercials. I stream things. I generally don't watch TV commercials, but the few that I do are either like Jack Daniels or that I see or Budweiser, Bud Light. So, well, the answer is Ciroc ad for Limonata vodka.
Okay, never seen it. But okay.
It aired 102 times for 35 million impressions and was 271% more effective than the average alcohol ad. Again, this is from the good people at EDO. I don't know what their qualifications are to do this. Don't even know what the company stands for and have no context of what 270% more effective is. But really important stuff here. All right, Kirby, second category, the apparel category. I know what my guess was. I guessed Nike. That was my guess.
Okay. Most effective. I don't know what ads I've seen. So I'm going to guess off the charts here. I'm going to say like Hoka footwear.
Okay. You're not far off. I'm going to give you a passing grade for that. It's Ofos, which is a footwear brand. They have a 30-second not a shoe ad promoting its shock-absorbing soles. It ran for 130 times with 197 million impressions and was 277% more effective than the category average. Again, like you, why I find this interesting is like, who the hell sees ads anymore? Two more quick ones. Casual dining category. This is the only one I guessed correct on.
Oh, okay. Casual dining. BW3s? What?
Bingo. Give Kirby a prize. Yes, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Okay.
Outperforming the average by 86%. The last one, sports betting category.
Oh God, that is the one. And I watch ESPN, so I'll see.
Right. Same here.
Oh God, there's so many now.
Yep.
Ironically, okay, so my take on this is there are so many I don't remember them all, and I don't bet, so I don't have a brand loyalty.
Yeah.
Oh God, like ESPN is taken over. ESPN
Yeah.
Bet. I got nothing, man. I'm sorry.
All
I
right.
just I
It's
can't think of a
FanDuel,
name.
and it's
FanDuel. Okay.
okay. It's FanDuel, specifically baseball betting. It was 304% more effective than the average. So again, these are
Baseball
numbers.
betting. Ironic.
Yeah. So here's what I'd like to know what you think we can learn from this.
Okay.
I have a thought. What can we learn from this? And there's nothing deep here.
Yeah, no, I'm actually finishing up the book from Gary Vee right now that is Day Trading Attention. And he talks a lot about this and how so many dollars are being wasted on creative from TV ads. Now, he loves certain TV ads, like Super Bowl ads, he thinks is one of the
Sure.
best values. But he said that we as marketers, I really buy this, that we need to do creative all the time organically on social, see what really takes off, and then create ads after that. And I think that makes sense because then I probably would have seen some of this, right? I haven't seen any of these because they just created the ad and then put it out there to see if it performs. So that's my sort of take.
So my question to you was, what can we learn from this? And here's my answer, Kirby. Not a damn thing. Kind of.
Yeah.
We live in a society where I think at this point in time, you and I are huge consumers of media.
Yep.
We not only create content, but we consume it. Content can be live sports programs. It can be streaming on Netflix. It can be blogs. It can be podcasts, whatever it is. You and I are consumers. At this point in time, generally, I view a lot of advertisements, not all of them, but the vast majority of them, as friction. And so I try to avoid them as much as possible. And I think that is what most population does. One of the reasons, when I watch a Formula One race, I love the way Europeans do sports, whether it's soccer or Formula One, because there's just a little box in the corner that tells me who's sponsoring it. Brought to you by Mercedes, brought to you by whatever. It doesn't interrupt my enjoyment of it. It's one of the things I, as much as I love football and I can't wait for football season, it's one of the things that stinks about football is the constant interruptions. So, but to what Gary Vee is saying, there's a point in time for the creative, but so much of this creative is wasted. You and I, other than the Buffalo Wild Wings, and we've seen a lot of the FanDuel and the DraftKings and all those ads, but they all kind of blend together.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Wild Wings one has stood out. So, okay, I think that to me, the real learning here is the Buffalo Wild Wings is the only one that knows their audience and can deliver that message. So I don't think we can learn a lot from it other than as advertisers, as marketers, we need to do a better job of really connecting not only the message, but the vehicle of the message, which I don't know if television advertising is it any longer.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where promotional products really fit in.
Yeah, again, it does tell you that branded merch does have that, but I also, again, I think the way we go to creative is the lesson, right? The way that we start over here and then build it to that is pretty interesting. So yeah, that's fun. That's cool.
No, it is. No, it was very so. All right, Kirby. Hey, you know what? 1 week from today, plus a few days, I'm going to be back in the Windy City. That's where Billy was born. That's where I lived for a good 10 years in the middle of my life. I guess I'm still in the middle of my life. At least I hope so. And I'm going back to ASI Chicago, and I'm excited about speaking. I'm excited about seeing some friends. I'm excited about, getting back out there. But man, I'd be lying if I wasn't the most excited about going to the Logo Mass booth, which is 1113. I get to see the great new products they have. I get to see my friend, Miles Wadsworth. I get to see Lenny the Lizard. And I get to have great conversations because they're going to help me stand out where others are content to fit in. So you're heading over to ASI Chicago. Head over to booth 1113. Visit our good pal, Miles Wadsworth, and the entire crew over at Logo Mats. And they're going to help you really stand out where others are content to fit in. Kirby, thank you for standing out in this podcast today.